Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Hello and welcome to the Profit with Law podcast. I'm your host, Moshe Amsel, and today this is a bonus episode with an excerpt from our Law Firm Growth Summit. Our summit is coming up. Our 2022 event is coming up December 5th to the 7th, and we want you there. The Law Firm Growth Summit, if you're not familiar with it, is an event that is absolutely free to attend. It's run virtually. We do a really good job with virtual events. It's not your typical Zoom webinar. It is a conference platform where you can come and meet other attorneys and other people who are on the same level as you and collaborate with them. We give you an opportunity to network. We give you an opportunity to connect with them. We also bring in some amazing vendors, and we have a vendor booth area where you can get access to questions that you might have for them on what their product has to offer, special deals that they might offer that is not available anywhere else, and you're getting that exclusively at the Law Firm Growth Summit. Now, the real meat and potatoes of the event is the topics, the sessions, and what we did this year is we broke up the tracking of those sessions into your specific law firm size. So we have the startup category, which is 0 to 250K in revenue. We have the expansion category, 250K to 2 million, and we have the legacy creator category, which is 2 million and above. And those are just guidelines, but we really tried to gear the topics to our variation of audience. We want everybody to be able to attend and get value. So we don't want you to feel like, oh, this is beneath me, or this is too advanced for me. We want you to have the right information for you. Now, we have over 30 leaders and experts and influencers in the industry that are going to be gracing our stage. So you want to make sure that you don't miss it. You want to go to lawfirmgrowthsummit.com/podcast, lawfirmgrowthsummit.com/podcast, and join us at the 2022 Law Firm Growth Summit. There's other exciting things going on. We're going to have some game shows, some prizes, and other opportunities for you to really enjoy the event and get the most out of it possible. On top of that, we have 2 amazing keynote sessions. We have Mike Michalowicz, renowned book author of Profit First and Clockwork and Pumpkin Plan and Fix This Next and Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. He actually spoke last year at the 2021 event on Profit First. This year he is not talking on Profit First, but everybody loved his talk so much that I had to have him come back. And he's going to be doing a talk on creating a business that can run without you, based on the content of his book Clockwork. It's going to be a great talk. You want to make sure that you're there. And then we have Jennifer Cuthbert, and Jennifer is a rock star law firm owner out of Atlanta. She's owns the Atlanta personal injury firm, and she is one of only 10 women-owned business to make the Inc. 5000 list this year, which is huge. Rapidly growing firm, and she's going to be talking about how to stake your claim, right? Take what's yours, own the right to be successful, and how to do it while balancing your personal life in the process. She's a mom. She's got young kids. How does she do it all with all of that other stuff going on without sacrificing those pieces? And I'm excited to have her joining us as a keynote speaker as well. So some really amazing stuff going on at the Law Firm Growth Summit. Remember, registration's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to lawfirmgrowthsummit.com/podcast and register and sign up. So the link to that is in the description of this episode. You don't have to go far. Just go in your podcast player, click that link, and go in and put in your information and make sure that you register for the event so you can join us at the 2022 Law Firm Growth Summit.
That is actually the first problem that needs to be solved, is if you are not charging enough for your services. So let me ask those of you that are delivering a service that you know is worth that $3,000 to $5,000 on average. Are you collecting, receiving that $3,000 to $5,000 on average for every single client or prospect? Are you receiving that for every single client or prospect that you meet with? And if not every single one, how's about 90%? 90%. Linda, no, Will, no. Okay, so this is the first problem to solve. This is the first problem to solve because if you think about it, every single person that you sit down with who needs your services, if you are not getting hired by them, you're doing them and yourself a disservice, right? You're doing them and yourself a disservice because if somebody is sitting down with you to talk about incapacity or death, what happens if they become incapacitated or when they die, then they need you, right? They need your services. And so it's really critically important that you are in that process of sitting down with them, are making it as easy as possible for them to hire you at the right level for them to achieve their goals, as well as at the right fee level for you to be able to deliver on a service that you know is going to help achieve their goals. And so, Winifred, I'm going to, call out what you said here just for a moment, because this is actually one of the big problems. I charge less for estate planning, but I get the $3,500 for the probate matters, which are filed in court. So this is the traditional estate planning experience that many of us have been taught, right? I'll charge less up front, but I'll get the probate matter. And so, Winifred, part of what I feel curious about is, what you do charge up front, people that you meet with for estate planning, and whether it would be better for them if you actually charged them more up front and kept their family out of court on the back end. Wouldn't you be providing a better service to them in that case? Isn't that better for their family? Now, some of you might live in what we call probate-friendly states. Some of you, we hear that a lot. Oh, well, I live in a probate-friendly state, so I can't charge $3,000 to $5,000 up front. But honestly, that to me is a misunderstanding of the impact of a family on having to deal with the court system, even in a probate-friendly state, in the event of the incapacity or death of their loved one. And Winifred, if your potential new clients are rebelling against that $1,500 or that $3,000 to $5,000 that we would teach you how to offer, it's because you haven't learned how to take people through a process in your intake process and your engagement process where, of course, they're happy to pay you the $3,000 to $5,000 because it's actually in the best interest of their clients. I'm sorry, it's actually in the best interest of their family. You just haven't learned the process for it. So I figured this out myself when the very first time, so this is back in 2003, 2004, and maybe actually 2003, I had just left the big law firm to start my own law practice. And I thought for sure it would be easy to engage clients. All I thought I wanted to do was engage 4 clients a month at an average fee of $2,500. Because I was trying to replace my 6-figure paycheck at the big law firm, right? I was making this 6-figure paycheck on 12 hours a day. So I started my own law practice in my community in Redondo Beach, California. And I was like, okay, it's going to be pretty easy clients a month at 2,500. That was my goal, right? And I see Roberta saying that was my goal too. And I'd love to hear from you what your goals are currently in your practice. And by I'm going to touch on in a few minutes how misguided that thought was, which I didn't know at the time, because that is the thought of a law practice owner rather than a law business owner. The truth is that if you're only trying to get 4 clients at 20, you're actually not building a business. You're building a practice that you're never going to be able to all, nights, weekends, all the things, didn't like at the big law firm. And Roberto, exactly. That's why you're here. Okay. So that was my idea. 4 clients, $2,500 a month. $2,500 each. But what happened is that clients kept coming in and meeting with me and not. And the first time that I engaged a client at $5,500, so excited because I had seen other lawyers doing it. I'm like, okay, my services are worth $5,500. I spent 4 hours with these clients. They finally said yes to a $5,500 fee. I was office, yay, $5,500. And then 2 weeks in, they called. They're planning with me. And they said, Alexis, and that was my name at the time, Alexis, we really liked you. But we actually found the same thing that you're providing with another lawyer for less than half the price. They said, we would have happily paid you $1,000 more. Really liked a lot of what you were saying about lifetime relationship. And, we would want you to be there for our family if this other lawyer is charging us $2,500 and you're charging us $5,500. We can't justify it. And of course, I immediately go into defense mode in the beginning. And I think, well, they signed an engagement letter. They have to pay my fees. And had I gone down that road, I would have just ended up fighting with them instead of learning probably the biggest lesson of my career, which I'm going to share with you now, which ultimately resulted in the creation of my client engagement system and has since then gone on to help, in my own practice, engage millions of dollars of legal services. And then, since then, I don't know, maybe this has ended up resulting in, hundreds of millions of dollars of legal services over the past 15 years with the other lawyers that have learned it. So what I said to them is I said, okay, I'll refund your money, but would you just do me one favor? And by the way, that was not an easy refund to make. Like I did not have that money, I was the breadwinner in my family. I was just starting out and it was a hard pill to swallow. And I said, would you just do me one favor? Would you back to her, you go to this lawyer and tell me what your experience was like? And I really actually didn't even expect them to do it, but they did. And actually they came back to me, the husband came back to me with a point-by-point comparison of his experience with me and his experience with this other lawyer. And what I saw in that experience was that the way that that 4 hours I had spent with them was actually a waste of my time and of their time. That at the end of that 4 hours, they still did not understand me $5,500 and why they were paying this other lawyer $2,500 and what the difference was. And so what that resulted in is me scripting out what I now call a family session. And so I want to explain to you where that falls within your structure for your intake and enrollment and engagement process. Okay? Because if potential new clients rebel against your $1,500 fee, it just means that they don't understand what they're really getting and why they need what they need. And they certainly are not using their own fee in the process. So what I was ultimately able to create was a 2-hour meeting structure, that had the exact same structure from start. 2 hours, way better than the 4 hours, Samantha, that I had been, okay? Way better than the 4 hours that I'd been spending with people. And at the end of that 2 hours, 100% of the time, and it's a lot to say 100% of the time, but it's actually true with the lawyers who follow this structure. I was able to collect an average fee of $4,000 to $6,000 every single time. Now, I say average fee because my clients were actually choosing their own fee. Now, here was what the great part of that structure was that I created. If they weren't going to go forward, first 45 minutes. And if they weren't going to go forward, only happen a tiny percentage of the time if somehow they had made it through the process and they actually didn't need my services. But if they were sitting down with me for this 2-hour meeting, were properly prepared for the 2-hour meeting, and they had actually done homework and submitted it to me before the 2-hour meeting, they were already invested in the process. And in fact, what ended up happening, Samantha, is that 2-hour meeting became the foundation of my whole law practice. And so eventually, once my law practice became a business, I was only going into the office to do those 2-hour meetings. That's it. That's why in my 4th year of practice, I only had to go into my office 2 to 3 days a week, and I was still able to bring in $1 million a year of revenue. Ultimately, I was even able to teach that 2-hour process to other lawyers in my office who ran those meetings. And then I wasn't even having to engage the clients myself anymore. That's how I was able to build a 7-figure law business. And then I got to choose, do I even want to see and engage clients anymore? Or do I want to be the one who's just educating the community? And then other lawyers are seeing the clients and engaging the clients. And then my team is actually delivering on a service that I truly, completely, and totally believe in. But none of that could happen without the intake and engagement process. So I want to break that down for you now.
Thank you for tuning into the Profit with Law podcast. Your feedback is extremely valuable to us, as well as helping us reach more people with this valuable content. Please leave us a rating and review in your favorite podcast directory. Join us again next time when we are back with even more strategies to profit with law.